If you are watching this, then by now you should have already envisioned your final moments on your deathbed. And I hope that you were radically honest with yourself about what you want those moments to look like. And hopefully you reflected on whether the path you're currently walking in your life will get you to the finish line that you envisioned. This was an opportunity for you to start new and begin now with the perfect end in mind. This was our first pit stop on our path to clarity. In the second module, we built a BS filter that will help us ignore everything that doesn't serve us. By getting clear on our values, identifying our beliefs, and mapping those values and beliefs to the actions that we're going to take, we will ultimately be able to optimize our well-being so that we can feel good more of the time. Now it's time for us to dig even deeper into our belief system. You have got to understand that your beliefs determine the actions that you're going to take in all areas of your life. Your beliefs about the opposite schmecks will dictate your ability to find a partner. Your beliefs about the state of the world, whether political, tribal, economic beliefs. Those beliefs will ultimately dictate how much risk you're willing to take in your life and how much pain you're willing to endure as you pursue your dreams. Your beliefs about yourself and your health and your capacity to problem solve, your ability to communicate and connect with other people. Those beliefs will ultimately dictate how likely other people are to work and cooperate with you as you take steps towards advancing your career or business. Any belief that doesn't serve you, any belief that holds you back on your path are what we call limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are so damaging because even if you are perfectly clear on what you want, let's say you've identified the 5 values that matter most to you, which you should have done in the last module, and let's say you are perfectly clear on what actions you need to be taking to fulfill those values, you will still not be able to take those valuable actions because when certain situations arise in your life, your limiting beliefs are going to cause you to behave differently. They are going to lead you to taking actions that are not going to fulfill your values because your beliefs about the world are the types of beliefs that lead to self-sabotage or actions that do not ultimately serve you. Limiting beliefs do not lead to the actions that fulfill your values. They lead you to taking the types of actions that prevent you from fulfilling your values. Your beliefs ultimately tell your brain how to behave. Or to put another way, your beliefs are the seeds that grow into every single action that you take in every situation that you find yourself in. Most of us did not choose our beliefs. And to peel the layers of this onion back further, we did not even choose our values. We inherited our values and beliefs from our parents or our guardians, from society and mainstream media or social media and the friends groups that we grew up with. Nobody asked us, hey, what do you need in order to feel good? What are your values and what do you want to accomplish in this life? Nobody checked with us about our life's purpose. They just assumed our values were their values, or they decided what our values should be without consulting us first. They told us to be a lawyer or to be an electrician, or told us to go to college and do anything necessary to make a high-earning living. Or worse, they just assumed that we would never make a good living, and they told us what they thought would help us survive at the time based on their own lived experience. But what if that wasn't what we wanted for ourselves? You can see how it's more common than not that we were never taught how to construct our values and belief systems. We were never taught how to optimize for our own well-being. What we were taught was how to get in line and follow the traditional path of go to school, make money, and keep our parents and various authority figures happy. Right now, we are changing that. We are gaining clarity for ourselves and deciding right now what values and beliefs we want so that we can improve our well-being and the path our soul was meant to walk without any input or any interruption from outside influences. That's why the BS filter is so crucial. Once we've decided what we genuinely want for ourselves with radical honesty, we can properly filter out all the BS that doesn't matter, all the BS that doesn't serve us. So let's talk through specific examples of limiting beliefs and how to overcome them so we can protect ourselves from the crap thrown at us, from fake friends, the mainstream media that just want us to be sheep, and from outside influences that don't have our best interest in mind. It's time to crush these limiting beliefs so we can pursue our purpose with strength and clarity. So we're going to address 3 commonly held limiting beliefs. These are beliefs that I personally have to watch out for in my life, and I have had success keeping them at bay despite their frequent attempts to creep in and block me from fulfilling my values. I'll use my own personal values as examples for you to see so that you know how to use your own set of values to craft your own set of beliefs that will set you up for success. Let's start with the common limiting belief of the world doesn't care about me. Think about what we see in the news day in and day out. Social media contributes to this belief too. It is reinforced through images of violent crimes. Nothing tells us that we don't matter, like stories of murder and persecution, right? Stories of incarceration and war, of injustice and failed due process. We hear these stories frequently, and they are reminders of how powerless humans can seem in the wake of large systemic failures in society. There are examples of humans not being cared for everywhere. And it's common for us to take these stories in and conclude that nobody cares about us or our problems. We are specks of dust with little power or ability to challenge our fate. Can you relate? Do you have a similar belief? Here is how I combat it. You may recall my top value is oneness. When I fulfill this value, I feel very good. I feel empowered and like I matter a lot. I fulfill this value every time that I remember I am connected to a higher power, a higher dimensional being that uses me to perceive life in this dimension. To be clear, I don't need anyone else to have this value. It's mine and mine only. Your values are unique to you. The formula for you to feel good doesn't depend on anyone else. That's why they are so great. You can feel good simply by fulfilling your own values, independent of what anyone else says or does. So my value of oneness needs to lead to certain actions taken by me to be fulfilled. Like I said, I experience this value when I remember I am connected to a higher power. And that is one action that I take to fulfill it. Remembering. And yes, remembering is an action. But I also fulfill this value when I meditate on oneness. Meditating is another action. And I also fulfill this value every time I do a favor for somebody. When I help my grandma cook a meal. When I offer to take work off of a coworker's plate. When a colleague asks me to do something for them and I make good on that request, these all help me experience oneness. Because by serving another human being, I am serving that higher dimensional entity that I believe all of us are connected to. And because that is a value for me, it leads to good feelings. Now, this directly combats the limiting belief that nobody cares about me, because I cannot possibly believe that to be true while simultaneously believing that my higher power expresses itself through every other human on this planet. Because if I believe that my higher power needs me to feel good in order for it to feel good, then it makes no sense that my life doesn't matter, because that would not lead to me feeling good, which means my higher power would suffer as a result of me not feeling good. So I have effectively replaced the belief of the world doesn't care about me with the world has to care about me because my higher power needs me to feel good in order for it to feel good. Now, it's important to point out that your values don't need to be quote unquote true in the objective sense. It is probably the case that you have evidence for your limiting beliefs and they feel objectively true to you. For example, the news stories that I've mentioned can appear as evidence that you don't matter. And so that belief feels true to you. But our goal here is not to be right. It is to feel good, full stop. And the human mind is literally hardwired to find evidence that our beliefs are true. So as you rewire your beliefs to support your values, you will notice that your brain will start bringing to your attention real world evidence that supports your new beliefs. Back to my value of oneness, I literally do not put my attention towards news stories or social media posts that reinforce the belief of I don't matter. By setting my TV channels to certain shows and news stories that highlight the good happening in the world, and by customizing my social media feeds to promote content that reminds me of the power of humanity and the connections that bond all of us, I'm reinforcing my values of oneness and blocking any violations of that value. When I am confronted with bad news, I'm even scanning the images on the TV screen for good Samaritans, people helping other people, which I guarantee you can always find if you simply look for it. So you should be able to see how I am both physically altering the content that enters my consciousness through deliberate acts of customization of my content feeds, but also filtering bad content in a way that allows me to see the good in every image that I am exposed to. Now, another common limiting belief is I'm not good enough. This can also manifest as I just don't have what it takes, or I'm not smart enough, or I've wasted too much time doing bad things and the hole I've dug myself into is too deep. All of these have roots in the core belief of, I can't do XYZ because I'm not capable. This belief plagues me perhaps more than any other, if I'm being honest. But recall a couple values on my personal list: health and discipline. And really, the mere experience of fulfilling any of your values can serve as evidence that you are capable of anything, because fulfilling a value leads to feeling good, and you ought to notice that you are the cause of your own good feelings. And if you are capable of causing your own good feelings, then it follows to reason that anything you think would feel good, you certainly can take action to accomplish it, since you are already capable of producing other good feelings in your life. Health and discipline stand out to me as prime examples that I am good enough to do anything I set my mind to, because I didn't used to be healthy or disciplined. The lack of health and discipline in my life resulted in lots of bad feelings. I was tormented by what I thought was my inability to make healthy choices and to be disciplined in my pursuit of success. I used to eat fast food all the time and drink copious amounts of alcohol and do drugs, and no matter what I put on my planner or what my New Year's resolution was, I could never stick to a plan because I'd jump at the first opportunity to party with my friends and escape my reality through fun distractions. Eventually, the pain of realizing that I was wasting my time and potential became greater than the fleeting joy of partying and distracting myself. So I made a conscious decision to make health and discipline part of my values, and I got clear on ways that I could experience those values, such as giving up alcohol and becoming sober, as well as planning an exercise routine and work routine that would actually move me closer to the kind of life that I wanted to have lived by the time I reached my deathbed. Every day that passed that I didn't drink was a win and became evidence that I am good enough. Every workout that I completed proved to me that I could accomplish hard things. Every block of time that I set aside for work that I completed became proof that I was good enough to accomplish anything that I at least put in my planner. Again, I had to have my own standards of truth. It cannot matter what other people think, what gurus on social media tell me success looks like, because I don't have private jets or $1 million in the bank. But I do have concrete evidence that I am accomplishing things that I set out to achieve, and that is my own truth. Over time, we get better at accomplishing things. It's simply the laws of physics. Objects that get in motion stay in motion, and so we can get better and better at overcoming the friction of life with each piece of evidence that stacks up as serving as proof of what we are capable of. And so my belief is no longer, I am not good enough. It's been replaced with, I am good enough to accomplish anything that is a value for me, which sets me up to fulfill my values more of the time. Now, a final limiting belief that is fairly common for people to have is, I am not meant to be successful. This also manifests as money is the root of all evil, or that's just the way it is, or that life is not meant for me. The roots of this belief are basically ones of fate. We think the way we have lived up to this point in time is evidence of the way that we are going to live the rest of our lives. I used to struggle with this belief myself, and similar to the way that I overcame the first two limiting beliefs, it was through deciding that that belief, the one that says that's just the way it is, or its cousin, that's just the way that I am, I decided that those beliefs don't feel good. Those beliefs don't lead to me taking good actions. And by choosing to fulfill my new values, I was able to establish a new belief to replace that one. My new belief is, any life I can imagine is a life for me. Now, this belief can work two ways, right? Because I can imagine terrible lives. Our worries and doubts can make us imagine futures that are somewhat scary or that don't feel good. But for me, I'm able to quickly adjust my image of the future to look beautiful, to look peaceful and abundant. I have worked hard at visualizing what I want, as well as reframing difficult situations intentionally so that I always see how life is serving me and my highest good, independent of what the objective truth may be. I prioritize my subjective truth as a way to protect myself from haters, doubters, or pessimists, and I am careful not to be ignorant of objective truth or what the consensus belief is. I can acknowledge it, but it isn't the primary factor in drawing my own conclusions about my life. My North Star is my deathbed visual always, keeping the end in mind. And I recommend this frame of reference or way of thinking to anybody trying to change their life or create good habits. This is the benefit of clarity and why this is the first course in this community. This sort of thought process is our foundation for all the skills that we will build next. So as we wrap up this module, Your activity for this lesson will be to identify 3 limiting beliefs that are holding you back. They can be some of mine that I shared in this video. They can also be yours or some combination. But they should feel real to you, like you really struggle with them. Then you will replace them with 3 new beliefs that will help support you to take better actions that better fulfill your values. When you complete that, you can move on to Module 4, our last module for this course, which will bring all of this together through the understanding of the dichotomy of choices versus decisions and the pleasure-pain dynamic that governs all of our outcomes in life. This is where you will understand the big picture of how radical honesty, building your BS filter, and crushing limiting beliefs will help you master your own pleasure and pain system through making the best choices and decisions for your life. And you might be interested to know, choices and decisions are not the same thing, and different situations that you'll find yourself in will call for you to make a choice, and others will call for you to make decisions. I'll tell you more in our next module. See you there.